Meeting to order, regular city council meeting, city of Dalhart, Tuesday, July 13th. First item on the agenda is the prayer. John, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we come before you, Lord, and we just say thank you for this opportunity to meet again, Lord. Thank you for keeping us safe, Father. We pray, Lord, also that you keep our city officials and all our workers safe, Lord. Heavenly Father, we also pray that you'll be with us as we make decisions here tonight. May you lead and guide us. May your will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, consisting of minutes from the June 22nd, 2021 regular meeting, June 29th, 2021, and July 8th, 2021 special meetings, approval of June financial reports, and approval of June bills.
I make the motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? We need to make a motion for each item on there?
No.
No, okay. First item on the regular agenda is public comments.
I don't have any sheets.
Okay. Item number 2, presentation for funding from the Community Development Fund.
You just pick whichever group you want to go first.
They're in your packet if you want to go with them.
Okay.
Who's on there?
Let's go with Bryce. XIT.
Good evening. I'm with XIT Rodeo and Reunion. I know you probably don't remember us. It's been a while since we got to do anything. You can look through our deal here. We just went off our 2019 numbers. The stuff that I guess our free stuff out there, we cost us about $58,000. Kind of felt like Joe Biden when I got this number, and I'm like, gosh, didn't you give a lot of stuff out? But we're asking for $7,000. We're going to bump up our toilets for parade and out at XIT with the COVID, and we feel like, from what we're hearing, we may have a little bigger crowd than normal. So that's kind of what we got in there. So appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Are we?
I'm here representing Community Connect. If you don't know, we're a community education and enrichment program here in Dalhart. Our biggest program is every summer, and we offer all these kids camps. If you'll please notice the price on every one of these. We've continued to keep our prices really low now. When I first came on board 5 years ago, most of our camps were $60+ each, and that really limited the number of families that could participate, especially with multiple children. So we've been using community development funds to subsidize the cost of our camps to make it affordable for all kids in the community. We also do a beautification event every year. This year was Trash Bash, and we had a great turnout. People show up, pick up trash. I'm very passionate about my children getting out and picking up trash, because I do believe that whenever you've had to bend over and pick up trash on the side of the highway, you think twice before you throw your straw wrapper out the window next time. And so on every other year, we do Trash Bash. On the off years, we do another beautification event. The last couple of years, it's been Make a Blooming Difference. We went and planted flowers. We did it at the nursing home and at the Lake Center, and then with our summer program. And we currently have 2 ESL classes that are running. There's about 30 in each class. And this is a good population of people coming in who want to learn to speak English. And this has to be separate than the college, because it has to be specifically for workforce if the college offers it. And with Community Connect, we fill that gap of, the stay-at-home moms who need to learn English, and those people who are not in the workforce, so they can hopefully learn English and get in the workforce. Yeah, I'm asking for the same amount of money that I have for the last 3 years, just to continue to subsidize the cost of our camps and to continue to offer beautification events for the community. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chamber?
How are y'all this evening?
Great. Good.
Good. I bumped up my request a little bit this year on the Fiddlers Contest. We're requesting again for 4th of July, which already happened. It was a little touch and go that evening, but it finally happened. That's just the usual 7,500 that we usually do. I bumped up the Fiddlers Contest, as I said. I wanted to include some prizes other than just cash prizes, like a little trophy or something like that for the winners. So they have something to take home and hang on their wall or something like that. I'm hoping that may offer some incentive because our competition's kind of dwindled down a little bit. We are also relocating it on the lawn at the Dalhart Senior Center. They're going to cook burgers, and we're kind of hoping maybe that'll keep a crowd downtown and listen to music, and they can shop downtown and eat some burgers and all that jazz after the parade. And then National Night Out and Trunk or Treat, I combined those two together. We did that in 2019, and we had about 2,000 people turn out. And so I think it could be bigger and better every year. We may or may not do National Night Out. Chief Connor and I have to get together on that and see if that's something we want to do again. Otherwise, it'll just be treat request for 2,500. And then Christmas is 5,000, which it usually is every year. That includes paying for Santa Claus, candy, lighting contest prizes, advertising, and then new decorations.
Is that everybody? Gotta leave somebody out.
There's usually keep our dollar beautiful. They didn't use, well, I think I got a request for $297 or something today. We usually try to keep them in there in the mix as well, but their money will still be there for this coming year as well, if they need some supplies or whatever.
Okay.
Them and the pedal pushers, which they've kind of disbanded, but there's still a few of those ladies that are working at, so I'll keep them, and if they need anything, I'll get it out of this fund.
Perfect. Item number 3, appointment of committee to study requests from the community development applicants. Is anybody interested in that? Brian? Be great.
I can help with me.
I can help too.
Perfect. Ian? Brian? We're good. Parker, obviously.
There you go.
Just 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 4, consider and act upon the recommendation of the Hotel Occupancy Committee to fund a softball tournament for Strikeout Cancer.
Can we do this one, Justin?
Please, sir.
We met, me, Justin, and Kevin, the hotel owners could not make it. And their golf tournament that they're gonna have first, it's July 31st and August 1st. And we decided to allocate them $9,000 for their golf tournament. It's a 2-day event, meets the criteria. So I guess I'll get it backwards.
Softball.
Softball tournament was, it's gonna be September 10th and 11th. And we voted to allocate them $12,097. We don't know where that number came from. We asked them. That was kind of weird. $12,097. And we recommended to award that.
Item number 5, consider and act upon, are we still at it? Okay.
I got a question. How does that work? You give the, on number 4, you give them the 12,000, et cetera. What is the funding of the outcome of that to the Dalhart County?
We actually have to report this to the state.
Right.
So they have, any entity that asks for it, they have an event form that they have to fill out for requesting it, and they say how they're gonna use it as far as advertising. It must be a 2-day event. It has to meet state guidelines that are set up in that. And then once they're done, they have to send us a post-event report showing how those funds were expensed. And like, so we have to report to the state every year to get that done as well.
If they don't use it, all they have to
They
give
have
us
to
back.
return the funds if they
They did not use.
There's a few of them still haven't sent me in their post-event report, but they'll get it to me.
I guess the question is, you put this amount of money up front, and what is that in, allows them to put it on, then all proceeds? Or so we supporting the event itself and all
We're
the
supporting
funds
the
go,
hotel occupancy.
yes, but all of the funds they receive, does that show to the Strikeout Cancer, does that show the total funds that is donated to them? Is this like a donation to?
It depends on how it's set up, that they have to do that in their report. Some of it is just pays for a portion of it. They get donations from like the golf tournament, they have donations from other people to supply beef for the meals and things like that. That's how they do those as well. Softball deal, same thing. We already have the fields, so they don't have to pay for the fields. And they try to raise it, and these are the ones that they keep all local. So they distribute funds, as do the car club guys, they do the same thing. But
But it stays
we're
local.
required to expense these funds in some type of an event.
It does stay local. It's to bring people.
Everything
into
goes
the-
local. It's not going to the American Cancer, not going to the cancer side. It's all local. Okay.
They choose a family or a person in need that's local.
They have a committee, a vesting committee that reviews who their funding goes to help them
That
out.
was just my concern, that you put this much money in and it goes outside of the community, so it stays in the community.
Well, the advertising, so that's actually a stipulation. The advertising stuff has to be to bring people into town, because the people that are collecting this for us are the hotel guys. That's why we
I understand that.
participate on the committee and be on that, because we want a multiple days events so that we get people to stay in the hotels, because that's where that funding comes
Yeah, I
from.
understand that. It's just the the money disbursement after the fact.
Yes.
Is what my concern is. Thank you.
That was our recommendation.
I can't remember the number, but I was.
$12,097.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we grant the hotel occupancy tax money of $12,097 to Strikeout Cancer for the softball tournament.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 5, consider and act upon recommendation from Hotel Occupancy Committee to fund a golf tournament for Strikeout Cancer.
Okay, and I'll get it in the right direction now. Well, this is July 31st and August 1st. And it's also a Strikeout Cancer. And they put it on, and it'll be out at our golf course and set up the same way. And we're recommended funding of $9,000 for this one. It's partial funding. So they're making arrangements to collect the rest on their own.
Again, I'll make the motion that we accept the recommendation for hotel occupancy committee for funding of the golf tournament for Strikeout Cancer of $9,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6, consider and act upon the number of council members it takes to request an item to be placed on the city council meeting agenda. Any comments or?
I read was 5 or a majority. Is that correct?
No, it's, I didn't find anything, I've never found anything that states, as it stands, any of y'all can request, just one of it. If you want to request it, it can be put on there. It's just that the stuff that Oki found and TML that they said as well is that as long as, the tempered climate is good, that they don't have to, you don't have to have that. But if it's getting nasty and y'all can't get along, then they recommend that you do 2 or 3 or a majority of the council to put something on the agenda.
And that would be, have to put it into the charter, correct? As long as it's not notated in the charter by any direction, then it's usually as one. But if you do it otherwise, you have to change to make a revision to the charter.
No, you can just do it as a procedure. Because any other council, future council can change that back as well. That's why they never have one item that says you can do it one way or the other. Myself, because I feel comfortable with any of y'all being able to put it on there just by yourself.
Well, yeah, you have a lot of different communities that have it in their charter,
Mhm.
and that's because of the stipulations you said.
Conflicts.
And so, if it doesn't require, it's just, that's just the question of it is we don't have to change the charter that way, because if we have to change the charter, why mess with it, in my opinion? I mean, if we have, now, the other consideration of it was, if you could explain the protocol that, are you the agenda manager, or who is the agenda agent? There is to make sure that it's all in compliance.
I put the agenda together, yes.
Okay, so, and I understand with TML and the other ones, that if an individual requests to be put on the agenda, that being a council member, that it has to be in a certain procedure and protocol, and it has to be approved. Would that be approved by you? That all of the information, it's my understanding that if an individual wants to put it on the agenda, they have to fully develop it and have all of the information available before it is presented to the agenda agent.
Let me elaborate a little bit on that. It's council's duty to do policy and procedure. If somebody's requesting something that is a day-to-day activity, that's my job. It's not y'all's job. If y'all have an issue with anything that's going on as far as day-to-day, you just need to contact me directly. You all have my cell phone number. If there's a problem, all you call me. Y'all got a pothole I heard about this down here. If you get tagged on Facebook, your job's call me and I handle it.
Road's good.
As far as that goes, but anything as far as procedural wise, if y'all want to, if, like I said, if y'all want to take up that y'all decide fixing to be in budget, if y'all decide y'all want to replace all the equipment in the park, then you bring that up.
I understand that, but it is the presentation, the individual that requests the agenda item, they are totally responsible for preparing all of the information and all of that for that item.
Are you saying us, if I came to it?
Yes, yes.
A council member requesting it.
You have to have it.
Well, I would make no.
In a form.
It's my job to advise y'all
Okay.
as well as our attorney. But if there's something that comes up, don't hesitate to ask.
Well, I just want to make sure,
You don't hesitate. So,
I just want the council to understand that the responsibility to the individual that wants to put something on the agenda. It's not just coming in and saying, James, I want on the agenda. You've got to have a presentation.
And he can deny it, right?
no,
You cannot deny it
well,
if it's not presented.
I'm going to cancel you exactly just like I said. If it's a day-to-day activity,
Yes.
it's my job to try to make sure that things don't have to end up on the agenda. If it's something that it's a procedural thing, let's get it taken care of. Is there a problem? We need to get taken care of. If you see a truck driver driving up on the curb when he's not supposed to, you let me know, because I need to let that department head know. So he's cautioned that you don't need to be doing that. and those things. But yeah,
The responsibility is of the person requesting the item.
they're gonna-
Have it fully prepared.
if they have something that they have there,
Needs to be.
I
fully
would suggest that they do that, yes, but I will coach or help anybody.
Yeah,
that-
I mean, I know it's not in writing anywhere, but it's just the recommendations of TML and a couple of other associations that the council members need to be prepared, that if they go for an agenda item, they've got to be totally prepared to present that agenda item in all the proper form. Am I correct? Okay. I just want, make that point.
I'm comfortable with any of you being able to put anything on the agenda. So,
But we are still delegated to put it in the form and there is requirements of what can be presented in the form that is to be presented, this is my understanding. So certain things, it all has to be there. There is a criteria that everything needs to be there.
And I think what James is just saying is, if you'll let him know, let me know with enough time. So that if he needs to speak with you about this is normally something that this person does on staff and so on and so forth. Not in a way that we have to go and put it on the agenda.
Yeah, I understand that part. Yes, sir.
So,
It's just the presentation, who's the responsibility of presenting all data needed information to put it on there. And I know in some of the scenarios that it says you can request help is what you're implying, that you will help to put it in a form.
Yeah.
That is legal and presentable to be placed on the agenda.
yeah, and if I don't know, we have TML legal.
Yeah,
We got our attorney.
that's just all I was wanting to do. It's just not simple come up. I want to
Yeah.
put this item on there. I need to be prepared to substantiate that request.
Well, you need whatever supporting documentation that you're gonna have to present to the council.
Just what I'm going to make sure that we're all on the same page. It's not just simple as coming up and say this. Thank you.
So we need to act on this. This could be just one person. We need a number.
It's
Leave it
already
how it
any one of you
is.
can,
That's what it is.
Leave it how it is.
Okay.
and I'm fine with that.
I move that we just leave the situation as is in relationship that one council member can place an item on the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 7, consider and act upon adding discussion for future agenda items as a permanent city council agenda item.
Lord, here we go again. I would appreciate if Greg could kind of speak more clearly on the legal side of it and the application, because I've noticed in several different areas that coming up with different cities that have it as an item, some of them on the consent agenda. And some of them are that they just bring it up at this particular time at the end. And I understand that. But it would be my understanding, and I need to be corrected, that if we request this form of having future discussion agenda items, that I'm losing where I'm at. There's criteria that goes with it. Okay. And what I was going to get at is that in most locations, that puts it into a position that the council has to vote if they want that future action at the time it is presented on that thing there. And that negates, in my opinion, the one person putting something on the agenda. If you put it on a separate item, as it states right here, discussion for future agenda items in either one of them, in the consent agenda or just in the agenda body, that the council has to vote on. And that would circumvent the one person being able to go on the agenda. That's just a clarification on me, because it seems to, if that is the case. And on one of the cities where it's in the consent agenda, that opens it up for discussion at that time, if they want to, how they will vote on accepting the consent agenda if it is placed in that area. Amarillo has it in that area, I believe. It was in the section I was looking at, it's under the consent agenda part of it, which opens up for discussion. So I just, does that negate it or, I'm sorry, I should have got a hold of you earlier. I apologize.
Dwayne, I don't know that I fully understand your question, but how I would respond to it is, I've been the city attorney here for about 30 years. I don't know that we've ever had this particular item on the agenda
Yes, sir.
before. So I think it's worked well the way it's worked in the past. I would be a little bit uncomfortable with the word "and act upon," because I think then that says not only are we going to consider the discussion of future agenda items, we're going to act on them. And I don't know that we want to do that. But that's not my call. That's your all's call on that. I would prefer just to leave it at consider discussing future agenda items, not act on them. Now, does that answer your question?
It does, is the point that you did bring up in last council that some legal aspects in the back burner that could take place, and that's what I'm addressing. And basically, if it does, if you act upon doing this, we can consider it, but just doesn't do it that the council has to vote on it. If you do it under consideration, does the council have to vote to be able to put it on the agenda? There is some ramifications it's in some of the documentation that you presented us and that sort of thing, that's the way that goes. And my concern is it's maybe it would be good, but I don't know what the ramifications on the other, on number 6 would be about the ability to get it on the agenda.
Could I interject something here with item number 6? Well, back with 7, sorry. The way I see, or it is number 6, consider an act upon a number, and then number 7, consider an act upon adding. The way I see that is not an act during when we add something like at the end. And I'm taking it, you did the research with the Amarillo Council. And I also went through and I reviewed, there was page 2 of this handout was from Kerrville. Questions from the Kerrville city manager or city attorney. But they also have it in theirs. And theirs is a line item at the bottom. And they never act upon anything.
They just discuss.
They just discuss it. And so my interpretation of this is consider and act upon this motion saying we want to add a discussion for future agenda items as a permanent city council agenda, but not act upon them during the time of our council meetings. And
Just discuss.
just discuss it. But the other thing that I see, just to kind of reiterate something that you mentioned just a little while ago, was that I guess from that perspective of going back to the following item before about adding the items by any council member, when we're here, we may think of something that's brought up amongst us. And that could be that individual council member, like in the Kerrville or the Amarillo one that says Garcia mentioned this particular comment. So when it comes to that next council meeting, we know, hey, this, Wendy can say, hey, Dwayne, you mentioned this. Do you need to be prepared for this in the next council meeting? So I don't see it as an act every individual time, but also I see it as a reminder from this meeting that if we need to talk about something in the next meeting, that we can do that. Because there are going to be things that come up. There are going to be things that come up between the time we leave here into the next council meetings. And then there's times that we bring up stuff here, like, oh yeah, we need to review that in that next meeting. So that's kind of the way I see it. And I did a little bit of homework in this as well, and then researched the Dan Morales's attorney general opinion as well about that. And his question was about the Dallas City Council meeting, whether it was a violation, whether 5 city members or 5 city council, whether the mayor or any of those individuals needed to place that on there, or if it was an infringement of their freedoms. And that's not what I got. So what I got out of it was that it was an opinion supporting that there is no method for this. It's just really the approval of council, what your council wants to do. I don't know if that helps.
Well, because the way I see it is, if you want to discuss an item, as long as you don't deliberate on it,
Mhm.
because like you say, I like the dog thing, well, I don't, I want to
Right.
get rid of them. So that's deliberating.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So like I said, if you just say, I'd like to put this on for a future item, I don't see any issue with that.
I believe also there's in place of that in relationship to the open meeting law about how you put that on there. I don't think that qualifies under the open meetings law that you can, oh, I just thought of this and I want to put it on there. I don't think that's kosher.
Well, what I got out of that just for the preparation of it, is that the Attorney General answered that question in that opinion. And what he said was there's method for preparation, but there's no method for the way we introduce that. And so then what he said is because of that lack of that inside of that law, because none of them could find it, but then they base that upon whatever that council puts in their charter or their ordinance. So I feel like that might be the other, maybe you were reading that out of it as well. But on the other end, I feel like it's council's responsibility to guide that and to say, if we want to add it, as long as we're all aware, we're not discussing those items and acting upon them as well. But as far as the opinion went, there was nothing in
That's
there.
still
You would do your preparation for the next agenda.
it's still the consideration about the open.
Exactly.
That's just in relationship, and I believe it was brought up that in relationship to the public coming up on that, how it needed to be placed on there. If you do it on this line item, I don't really know. I'm not,
Well, I think Amarolla's, just from what I gathered, I did not note any significant spot. What I noted from that and from Kerrville was that those move as we add items. So if today we have 8 items in our agenda, well, then 9 would be comments from council, items for future discussion. But if next week we have 4 items, then we would be item 5. We would be comments, for future discussion. So that's what I noted out of it.
I understand. It's just a concern.
Mhm.
So what do we do?
What do we do?
We're gonna act, we're not gonna act on it. We're just gonna consider it for future.
I move council recommendation to put it under the consideration of and whatever criteria that involves on doing it and putting it in a proper form that we don't have a problem. Not act upon it as making it a situation that under the guidance of council that we just put it considered, don't have anything about act on it.
So are you saying for the future, not acting then or acting today in our motion? Because
I think
we have to act on the motion in order to be able to place it on our agenda. We need to act upon that.
my motion is just to consider it and not to take action upon it, that it is going into compliance. More consideration if that's what we want to do with more research.
I would make a different motion, and that's just my opinion. I would make a motion to act on adding the discussion for future agenda items is.
Or more, you need to do my motion first and vote it down or not, and then proceed to the second
So do
motion.
you need a second for your motion?
Yes, sir.
So in other words, they're saying, let's put this as number 9 on the bottom of the list as discussion open at the end of
It's a
council.
floater, like.
I mean,
say that
But
as
it's
we're
the last,
voting.
yeah, it's the
The
last
We wouldn't be
item,
voting
the
on it.
last,
You're just gonna say, I want to talk about this at next meeting,
yes,
and then nobody discusses.
you don't really discuss it. You just say, I have this that I'd like to.
Which will be documented for the next, be put on the agenda or to be talked.
And then you come prepared.
The only question then is the word permanent on the first line of 7. Are we saying if we pass these, it's going to be a permanent?
I think so
It's
for every
there
agenda.
every agenda, like the prayer is.
Basically.
Yeah,
Like this, like the comments from the city.
yeah,
Mhm.
always on there.
Had no second, you can proceed to the next.
I'll second Dwayne.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
I make a motion, we consider and act upon.
He need- he needs
Sorry,
to
you
do-
got it.
Go first.
So I'm not following. What do I need to do here?
Motion
You
like
had
this.
two for it, and the rest were against it.
Oh,
And so now what?
And my motion fails.
Motion fails. Move on to the next motion.
Or discussion, whatever you want to.
So question, so the word permanent, I mean, I understand where you're coming from in that aspect. Can it be reworded to something as something other than permanent?
You can't hold a future council to that anyway.
Okay,
If the next
so
mayor, or they decide they don't want it on there.
they can vote it off.
Take it off.
It's not something that's stuck forever. Okay.
I think Dwayne was just, he's worried about the saying consider and act upon. He'd just rather see it just say discussion of future agenda items.
which isn't that what
Well, that's what that
asking?
says. Yeah.
It is.
No, he just doesn't like where it says consider and act upon.
Well, that's consider an act
In
upon
order to
tonight.
do that
That's
for
what that's saying.
future,
Oh,
Yeah, future.
okay.
have
That
to
it
act
is
on it now.
discussion of future items is what the line item is.
Oh, you'd have to ask Dwayne. I think that's what he was trying to get at, not have that on there. As that, just have it as discussion of future items.
Leaving it like it was, and then if there's anything to be brought, it would be brought up to the next agenda, would then brought to you. I think leaving it open to discussion at the end of every meeting of it, I think that's opening up a lot of
Same thing, I'll have to caution y'all about
caution.
deliberating on any of these
There'll
items.
be so much of what can be said, not said. That's just why I went the direction I went.
But that's our job to try to keep y'all legal.
So is there a way that would make you guys feel comfortable without the word permanent? I think everyone is in agreement that we are understanding that the next council has the ability to pull that off of there. But for this council, I think that the majority speaks to that we have concerns that if there's something that comes up and in the light of transparency through the city, I think that that's important to have that on there because I think it's come up in several council meetings before when we've had people say, hey, XYZ needs to be done, and nobody knows whether or not we bring it up to the table for the next meeting. So I think from my own perspective, I think that that's, if maybe we had a way to say,
I'd
we
like to-
understand,
yeah.
we understand that, but permanent is during our council time.
Right.
I don't think that's a question anyway. I don't think the permanency is.
The way I'm understanding this is the item would be discussion of future items, not consider and act upon any discussions. That's the way I'm reading it, is that it just opens it up for me to say, hey, I'd like to put this on a future agenda. And then that's the end of it.
But it could be said that, but if it's not to be put on the agenda, if there's something it would be brought up and then something doesn't happen on it, everybody's going to see what's on the agenda every 2 weeks, the Friday before. If we did bring it to the agenda, if it was brought up, the way it has been going.
But it also does serve as a reminder for when we discuss items, when we have anything that does come up. It also serves as a reminder for our future council meetings. And as a reminder to the public that we're elected here and we're trying to do a service to the individuals that put us here. So I think that's why, and I just think it's a good idea.
Mayor Moore. My motion has been defeated. So the discussion is now on the form to put it into second motion. So the discussion, in my opinion, about the motion that was defeated is not pertinent. Now it's carrying on to the motion that Councilman Ginger presented.
Okay.
I make a motion, we consider and act upon adding the discussion for future agenda items as a permanent during our city council term, city council agenda item.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Yeah, is that right?
It carried.
Carried.
You approved it. It's approved.
Item number 8, comments from city manager and department heads.
I need to have a meeting with you tomorrow if you've got 30 minutes or so.
Okay,
I got an email from our rate attorneys and I need to visit with you about. And it will be on our next agenda.
perfect. I can do just about any
Statement
time.
of fact. So, other than that, working on TxDOT, getting our reimbursement for engineering on that, and TxDOT Aviation will be starting at end of this month out at the airport. So it'll be very busy out there. So Parker, just be ready.
You work out there?
And, okay, on another note, XIT guys need to have council members to work Jollies Friday night.
Friday night?
Friday night. We've done it for the last 3 years, I think. We need as many as we
It's the
can get
concession
to
stand.
work the concession, the Jollies.
So I thought it was concession, but how does one?
Yeah, oh yeah. Working concession, Rotary's working the booths, ticket booths, and so
They just wanted to know if we were gonna work it, so I can call them and tell them.
any takers?
I can do Friday night.
I wouldn't be
No takers? I guess we're not working it.
Okay, I'll call them and tell them we're not.
I'm already working it, so.
Well, I am too, so.
May I bring up a point, please, sir?
Absolutely.
And like to address. Are you making, is it permissible to address it, Tim?
Yeah.
Is it going to impact you since the GPS is now routing all the traffic around Dumas into Dalhart? Are you going to have to take actions to kind of control the situation? You didn't know that.
Don't enlighten me.
On your GPS now, when they're doing your route, they are routing you around Dumas. They're taking it out of Amarillo, down 1061, up through Channing, up through here, and back over to if they want to 87, then they go back to Stratford to get on 87. If you want to go from Stratford and use the GPS, they take you down to Conlin, take you across 807, pick it up down at Hartley, and take you back down 1061. And noticeably, a big increase in traffic recently. I was just wondering if that's going to cause you a problem.
Honestly, traffic this year's been a nightmare anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna change anything. We're still out there. I mean, we're doing the best we can, you know.
It wasn't a question of that. It's just,
No, but no, it hadn't impacted us at all. I mean, our traffic contacts are up. But, and obviously crashes in the last year and a half have been up. But it hadn't really impacted us to an extent that we're hurting
I just found it interesting that they're directing all of it over here now.
One of that, has anybody seen the light poles going in up and down the highway? Okay. Well, I paid for them 2.5 years ago.
I saw the bases. I hadn't seen the pole.
Yeah, they had started putting the poles in. They're getting all the bases in, but I just wondered if anybody noticed them.
I was trying to count them the other day.
Yeah.
Without getting in a
A
wreck.
lot.
It's gonna look cool when they
116 extra.
light it up. It's gonna be cool.
It's gonna look
I'll do it all
Are
at
we gonna
once.
do Christmas or anything with those, like Dumas, Candy Cane Way?
That's all I had.
It'll be heard.
One more question, Chief, your officer in the car accident, how's he doing?
They're actually in town today. His hand is better. They had to rebuild his hand. It's better. He's still on a walker. They had to completely rebuild the heel, and he's got pins, rod, and everything else. And he's gonna end up having to have a surgery to fuse his foot to his foot's gonna be basically fused. As it is right now, they're saying that he will be able to return to duty. Of course, we'll see what time tells, but he is doing better. His wife is having to go back in for another surgery to reconstruct her orbital socket. But she's about to get on crutches, and he's doing a lot better. I mean, his spirits are up, so.
Good.
How soon will those light poles be up?
Mhm.
How soon will those light poles be up?
Contractor, I don't have a clue. 2.5 years.
I know too.
They're out there every day.
They still got to pull the wires and everything else. So if you're thinking XIT, I don't think I'll be ready by then.
It'll be cool.
A lot of those to sit still.
Motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Never had one.